Hi, and welcome back. I'm Dr. Patrick Kingsep, and what I want to talk about today is mindful work relationships. We've discussed how mindfulness can be beneficial in our relationships, but what about work? With work colleagues? Now, this is a different type of relationship, isn't it? How can we use more mindfulness when speaking with others on the phone and in generally managing our day? Work is often a busy and productive place. We don't go to work to relax, right? We often have certain demands and expectations placed upon us in our work role, and we need to get things done in the day. This can include phone calls, meetings, discussions, emails, and presentations. There's often a hierarchy at work of different colleagues and roles and responsibilities, and we need to find our place in the work environment. Many of us spend a great deal of time at work and interacting with our colleagues and clients and associates. Wouldn't most of us want to make this time as productive and enjoyable as we can? Now, utilizing mindfulness practices can help us to do this. Remember, mindfulness is a practice developed through ongoing repetition, and it's a way of being rather than a technique or a strategy. It increases your awareness of how you behave and how you perceive others around you. There may be one person in your work environment whom you find particularly difficult to communicate and get along with. Trust me, this is not unusual. There's usually one, sometimes more. Rather than specifically focusing on this one person in a mindful manner, it can be helpful to expand your mindfulness practice to attempting to gain true awareness of all of your interactions with colleagues as a starting point. The best way to do this is to be in the moment when you're interacting with your colleagues and become aware of your own body language and responses as a first point. Remember, mindfulness involves awareness of ourselves and others. It can be easier to gain this awareness during calmer, pleasant interactions and then expanding to the more difficult ones. So let's start using this mindfulness at work. So what is your intent? Spend some time thinking about why you wish to be more mindful at work and with your colleagues. What would change if you were more mindful in yourself and with others at work? What do you currently do that you wish to change? Become aware of your thoughts and what they lead to. It's important to gain greater awareness of the running dialogue in your mind and how the stories you tell yourself may lead to certain emotional states and behaviors or actions. This will enable you to pick up when a trigger occurs and the thought processes that are involved. You can then make a conscious decision or whether you respond or react. When you react, it often involves an impulsive statement or a behavior. In the workplace, you want to cultivate a more responsive mode rather than a reactive mode. And to do this, you need to know when you are triggered and take a pause or a deep breath before you respond. Be consciously present at work. When you're consciously present in the workplace, you increase your awareness of what's going on around you and what's going on within you. To be mindful at work means to be consciously present in what you're doing while you're doing it, as well as managing your mental and emotional state. If you're discussing an upcoming presentation with a colleague, be there. Be present during the full discussion with your colleague. Gain greater awareness of your own behaviors. Begin to increase your own awareness into how you respond, your actions with your colleagues as well. You might be caught up in certain habits of behavior with particular colleagues. Now, it's important to note this and decide if those habits of behavior are adding you in your communication and connection with your colleagues, or are they hindering you? Are they subtracting from those connections? Remember to be inclusive of others. It can be easy in a work environment to become very self-absorbed in what you need to do for the day and how you wish to do it. However, most of us do not work in isolation. We are surrounded by other colleagues. Remember to open your perspective to others around you in the workplace. This can be difficult when you have particular deadlines and schedules to follow, but it does pay off to think about people around you. Remember, you're always showing your nonverbal cues to your colleagues around you. And others, well, look, they can usually perceive whether you have a genuine interest in them or not. Be mindful of the words that you use. Language used carries much power in the workplace, and sometimes we don't spend the time to think before we speak. Be mindful of labeling others around you, as this creates a sense of depersonalizing the individual. Workplace gossip can lead to fractions in the work environment and a sense of bullying behavior. We all have a choice whether we engage in this type of speech at work, and we need to be more mindful of where these decisions can lead. And practice empathy. Often we are stressed. We're so self-focused and in the fight, flight, freeze, appease mode that we forget or dismiss others around us. This can be the case in the work environment, as you may have a series of deadlines upcoming and be in a stressed state. Take a moment and acknowledge you don't work in isolation. Practice compassion and empathy to your colleagues around you. Who knows what they're going through in their lives? And remember, every time you engage in an empathic manner with your colleagues, you're rewiring your brain to use these new habits of being. Now, what about a difference of opinion in the workplace? Now, it's important to understand your own communication style in the workplace. Are you more passive, assertive, or aggressive in your interactions with your colleagues? If you're unsure about this, it would be beneficial to do some reading on each of these communication styles. Most people will move between the three styles and tend to use a certain style in particular situations or with certain people or colleagues. It's important to authentically and genuinely state your own opinion on occasion. And it is also of equal importance that you allow others to state their opinions too. However, what do we do when the person you're communicating with does not agree with your opinion? The challenge is learning to be direct and assertive where appropriate, without resorting to attacks, sarcasm, or disrespect. This can be difficult when someone else is resorting to disrespectful communication with you and choosing how we respond to this. An important question may be, what is my intention in this interaction? To bring yourself back on track. You don't have to mirror someone's poor communication style. You can't change others. This is an important lesson in all interactions with others, and particularly in the workplace. You can also control your own speech and behavior, but not that of the other. Being mindful in the workplace involves a deep awareness of yourself and an understanding that you are always able to be in control of your responses and interactions. If you know you responded in the best way possible, you're able to walk away knowing you tried your best and will not berate yourself for your actions. Well, not berate yourself that much. You have a work culture. Now, in the workplace, you work alongside your colleagues and within a context or an organization. There's always a work system at play, the systemic issues. What are the values, the protocols, and the policies of your workplace? This will be influencing you and your communication with your colleagues. Another important point is loosening your judgments. Your mental comparisons and evaluations are triggering your feelings, and those feelings leak through your body language. If you think I have an agenda, whatever that means, you're probably communicating that to be non-verbally. If you believe I am not as smart as you, I'm getting that at some level by how you're communicating with me. Remember, your nonverbals give so much away. Now, while you may not have much choice in who you work with, you can choose how you want to behave with them. When you behave towards others more mindfully, you're likely to increase that others will perceive your positive intentions, even if your communication or actions aren't perfect. But remember, intentions without actions won't account to the changes you would like to experience. First, said the Greek sage and philosopher Epictetus, say to yourself, what would you be? And then do what you have to do. Being present at work is important. Now, here are some ideas to help you stop being mindless and unconscious at work and more mindful and consciously present. Be mindful at the start of your day. When you get to work, before you embark on your first task, consciously make a decision to be as mindful as possible through all the day's activities and interactions with others. Slow down and be aware of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions throughout the day. If you start to feel stressed, try to take a moment to acknowledge it, and then a plan to do some controlled, mindful breathing. Let's just say for 5 minutes, or make a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Keep reminding yourself on why you are trying to be more mindful at work and what this may lead to for others and yourself. And try to be aware of your 5 senses during the day and grounded in the moment. Take advantage of the small moments you have throughout your day to take a deeper breath, pause before you make the phone call, or stretch your legs mindfully. Practice short mindfulness exercises throughout your day at work. You may be in a very busy and demanding job, but there's always time in the day to practice some mindful awareness. Remember that mindfulness can be practiced from 5 minutes at a time. And if you're able to do this several times throughout the day, then the time soon adds up. You don't need to be in a meditative state with your eyes closed to practice mindfulness. You can take 5 deep breaths in and out. You can bring your awareness to your 5 senses whilst completing a task. You can engage in mindful communication with others. Be creative about how you use mindfulness in the workplace. Remember, every time you practice mindfulness, you're rebalancing your nervous system and reducing your time in the fight, flight, freeze, appease mode. You're able to tap into your wise mind rather than reacting to things around you. Now, one way of using mindfulness in the workplace is to focus on doing one task at a time. We've all become, very good at multitasking. But maybe it's time to return to the full awareness of doing one thing until completion before moving on to the next. It's often making us feel more productive to multitask as, look, I'm getting so many things started. But it often ends in unfinished tasks or poorly done tasks. Here are some tips. Tap into whether you're more productive when you're single tasking. Noticing the benefits can push you to keep doing this. Put tasks in groups such as returning phone calls, checking emails, and the fax machine. That way you're loosely reducing the multitasking by doing similar tasks together. Call it chunking. When you've completed this, you may then choose to go out on a visit to a client. If you need a typed report or work on a certain subject, try turning your phone on silent and clicking out of your email account whilst you do this. Set yourself an amount of time you will work on your report before moving to the other task. When you have a break at work, factor in a mindfulness activity. The next topic is on breaking out of autopilot to mindful presence. Now, it can be helpful to use a form of a reminder at work to use your mindfulness skills. As let's face it, We all become busy at work with tasks and deadlines and forget to be mindful. Our brains are hardwired to be habitually running through thoughts, kind of like an internal narrative, and we forget to be mindful as we become lost in the thoughts and where this may lead us. Often we're in this dreamy autopilot thinking state for long periods of time in our day, and we need to actively break this cycle. When we're in autopilot, we're not present to the opportunities and choices around us. By using a mindful reminder at work, it shakes us out of autopilot mode and into a present mindful state. So how do you set up a mindful reminder at work? Well, use your phone, watch, or computer to set an alarm that alerts you to use your mindfulness. Put mindful reminders in your work diary, electronic or paper format, much like any other appointment. Placing a photo, a picture, a note, a piece of prose around your work desk to remind you to be mindful. Put an association on a particular task or time at work that reminds you to be mindful, such as your break times. Make a cup of coffee or tea, a toilet break. Do a number 3, which is mindfulness. It could be every time you use your phone at work. At completion of the call, you take 5 mindful breaths. Use mindfulness to get more things done. Can seem kind of counterintuitive, but it works. By slowing down in general, you can become more efficient at work, clear in thinking and resilient. Being in a state of hurry and rush can lead to poor decisions and misuse of energy and mistakes. If we choose to slow things down and be mindful with what we're doing in our day, we often achieve more and have a sense of satisfaction and contentment in doing so. And sleep is vital to our day-to-day functioning. So this is the first place to start your focus. Are you getting enough sleep for your body and mind to function at its optimal level? If not, then this is something you need to focus on and make changes. Now next is the mini mindfulness exercises or moments you have in your day. This enables you to refocus on getting on with the task at hand in the present and focused fashion. So slow down to achieve more. Now another point is on mindfulness and gratitude. Now we as humans tend to focus more on the downsides of life than the wins and the good times. Would you agree? We tend to dwell and ruminate on the more unpleasant events and thoughts we have, but brush over the good things. Gratitude is one way to tune into the aspects of life we're fortunate to have. Spending 10 minutes a day listing 3 things you're grateful for can lead to great changes and have a positive impact on your overall health, your mood, your interactions with others, your creativity, and look, the quality of your work. Gratitude makes being at work more positive. If perhaps you're unhappy with your current job or work situation, practice gratitude and see if this helps. List 2 to 3 things that are going well in your job. Perhaps you don't like your boss, but you have some colleagues you can enjoy talking to. Decent benefits to the job, or there's a lot of other office politics, but through this, you're learning what to look for or look out for in your next job. Being mindful of what is going well, thus practicing gratitude, helps to improve on our resilience. Rather than letting your mind brood and become resentful of all you wish to change and you're unhappy with in the present employment, makes the change to open your eyes to the more positive aspects of the job. Then, if you do decide you need to leave and find alternative employment, your positive mental state will help you select the most appropriate job to move into and help you also in the interview process. Employers usually want to employ positive people and not those that are habitually complaining. Now, another point I wanted to talk about is humility in the workplace. Now, humility or humilis is the Latin term that the word humility derives from. So humilis means grounded, There are plenty of colleagues and managers in most workplaces that like to sing their own praises. However, the humble colleague, quietly confident, is always a breath of fresh air. There have been many studies into what makes good work companies, and one of the factors is a leader demonstrating humility. They don't seek to blame others when things go wrong or not to plan. And they congratulate their team of colleagues when they're successful rather than just inflating their self. So how is humility linked to mindfulness? Well, the two share many similarities such as acceptance of the self, being open to others and their ideas, and displaying gratitude, appreciating your work colleagues and the team you work within. If you wish to cultivate humility in the workplace, you could look into showing appreciation when others assist you. The cleaner you see in the morning, the colleague who offers to do the coffee run. You could attempt to value others' opinions shared at work. If someone makes a point that challenges yours, try to suspend judgment and listen to what they have to say. You don't have to agree with it, but you can express thanks for the alternative viewpoint. Now, I really do hope some of these ideas are helpful in creating a more mindful day and an experience in the workplace. Now, thanks very much for watching. Mindfully yours. Bye for now.